Hi, I'm Audrey. Mom just said we had guests for dinner. Mom's sister Claire and her nasty little daughter Rita would arrive. I'm 16 and Rita's 6, and she keeps sticking to me. What could we possibly have in common? I hate little kids, but Mom always scolds me when I'm rude to my cousin. She says we are family and therefore we need to be friends. The evening promised to be awful, but luckily Claire and Rita were late. This gave me the hope the dinner wouldn't be that long and unpleasant after all. Mom, are they even coming? They are 2 hours late already. I'm starving. My aunt didn't answer the phone. Come on, she's just changed her plans and never cared to warn you. Let's finally have a meal. If they show up, we'll just order some pizza. Our relatives didn't show up, which pleased me incredibly. I was about to go for a walk when a policeman appeared in the doorway. He asked my parents to go out, and they started talking quietly. Then Mom whitened and lost her senses. The news was horrible. On the way to our place, my aunt had an accident. Her unfastened seatbelt costed her life. Rita was barely hurt, but now she was in a pediatric department of a hospital. It must have been decided if she was going to an orphanage. What do you mean she's coming here? You wanna adopt her? For what? Am I not enough? My questions came one after another, but my parents claimed it was the best option. Rita was all that left from Mom's sister, and the girl was alone in the world now. She never had a father. Claire had an IVF from an anonymous donor. I still tried to realize everything, and my parents had made the decision already and left the hospital with Rita. So my opinion means nothing to you? Let's find her a nice family and come to see her from time to time. But my parents just got into the car in silence. I had to follow. The new life started right next morning. When I woke up and dropped down to eat, this midget was finishing my plate. Hey, it's mine! Mom hurried to explain. She had no time to cook for me, as Rita had got up earlier. How amazing! Now she's taking my food too. In this case, I'll eat in a cafe. My irritation with this little girl made it hard to swallow anything. All I heard was "Dear Rita this" and "Dear Rita that." What about me? Suddenly I saw Mom and her brand new daughter through the window. I wanted to hide, but I never had time for this. They both were waving their hands, and I had to go out. Mom immediately said she needed to go to a shop, and she left Rita with me. Now that's nasty. Rita gave me a little bunch of flowers she'd picked on her way. What do I need this brush for? You'd better go home, little girl. Leave me alone. I ran away. I never wanted to go back home. I ended up on some construction spot. It's cool in here. Suddenly, bricks started falling from above. I barely managed to jump away. Hey, are you blind over there or what? You've nearly killed me. I came home really late, and everything seemed to be weird somehow. I felt so out of place. I looked at a wall and shuddered. Where was our family photo? I heard Mom saying in the kitchen that we needed to take a picture of the 4 of us and hang it on the wall. Oh, of course. Our past goes to the dumpster. Now everything around us, even the walls, must remind us of this new life. In the morning, I didn't even have time to get up when Rita showed up in my room. What do you need, you munchkin? She was holding a plate with pancakes. Is it a breakfast in bed? Is that for me? You know I really hate pancakes, so get lost with them. Where did you even manage to find this disgusting plate? Mom's never had such a set. It only went from bad to worse. Dad asked me to take the little one to the ocean, to the central beach. She needed shells for her schoolcraft. I'd spent an hour trying to change his mind, to make him have mercy and free me from this. It all was in vain. All right, stop sobbing, you. Get moving. This little girl tried to take my hand and to talk to me on our way. This irritated me terribly. Ugh. Hey, stop. I've never seen this cafe here. No, it was here, but it looked totally different. Rita, do you remember you waved your hand here and gave me flowers? I wonder how did they manage to change the design in just several days. I finally could relax a bit on the beach. It was the first time during the last days. Maybe it really was time to accept Rita, as Mom said. I mean, she's always been my cousin, just got a bit closer now. She had such a woe, becoming an orphan at 6. I'll go help her collecting the shells. She'll be pleased. Rita, where are you? It's time to go home. Stop hiding, come on. I felt really anxious. Where was she? I ran several dozens of meters on the beach, but she was nowhere to be seen. Suddenly I saw a little shovel. Rita had it with her to dig the sand and seek the shells. My heart raced and my ears popped. I couldn't understand what was happening. Slowly and unwillingly, I turned to the ocean and screamed. The waves brought a plush toy to the sand. That exact toy Rita came here with. In 1 hour, rescuers worked on the beach for a while already, and my parents were standing by the shore crying. I couldn't come to my senses. I feel so guilty. How did this all happen? What comes next? Rita, forgive me, please. It's all my fault. I haven't kept your track when you went to rescue your toy. Rita! My eyelids were so heavy, I had to make an effort to finally open my eyes. The room was very blurry. I couldn't focus my eyes on any object. Mom, is that you? I'm so sorry. Forgive me. I didn't keep your daughter safe. Oh, my sister, poor Rita. How to turn back time? Tears ran from my eyes, and suddenly a small cold hand touched me. Rita? Mom, what is happening? Where am I? Mom said I was in coma for a whole week. A brick fell on my head on that construction spot. If Rita didn't happen to be near, walking after me without me noticing, there'd be no one to save already. Rita called for help, and the ambulance rushed me to the ICU. All right, a month had passed, and it's time for me to go back home. I finished my rehabilitation course and hurry to my loved ones. Mom, Dad, and sister are waiting for me at the doors. Oh, how long haven't I been at home? Hey, the picture's still on the wall, and I saw in coma you removed it. By the way, it's about time we really did this and replaced it with a new one of the 4 of us. After the dinner, Dad offered to go to the beach. Wow, that's cool. Rita, let's get ready. Just leave your toy at home, all right? Did you like this video? Subscribe and give us a like. Support the channel. Thank you.
If you are reading this, then I am no longer alive. I was recently adopted by Bill and Irene Morris, but I know something. They want to sell me for organs. All the children disappear from their beds. Talk to Miss Larkin. On my first day at the foster home, I found this note under my bed's mattress. The kids who had been adopted with me were running around, and I stood there, frozen. My new parents, Bill and Irene, seemed strange to me. When I first met them, they were silent and quiet, as if they were hiding something. The door creaked open and Irene poked her head in and called me for breakfast. I quickly shoved the note back under the mattress and hurried downstairs to find out what was going on. As I was going down the stairs, I noticed the closet door was ajar, so I decided to look inside. In the dim light, I could make out several cots, each with their names painted on it: Johnny, Liz, Annie. But there was no one with such names among the adopted children. Whose beds are these? I immediately remembered the text of the terrible note. Back in the orphanage, I was told about people who sell adopted children for organs. I have to call the police while we're still alive. I knew the phone was only in parents' room. I have to get there somehow. My parents strangely looked at me as we ate breakfast. It was as if they understood that I had discovered their secret. I got up from behind the table and told them I wasn't feeling well. But I actually went to their bedroom. Closing the door behind me, I immediately grabbed the phone and dialed the police number. Suddenly, something creaked behind me, as if there was someone else in the room. I fearfully turned around, but there was no one here. A voice said, "Hello, it's police station." I whispered all about the strange parents. The note and the cots. Do something. We'll soon be sold for organs. But the cop apparently thought it was a hoax and hung up. Then I got really scared. No one can help me. I decided to pull myself together. So if the police need proof, I'll find it. I'll start with a visit to Miss Larkin mentioned in the note. That same day, I decided to find her. There wasn't a soul in the area, but suddenly I noticed an old abandoned house. The door was open and a sign on it said, Miss Larkin. I cautiously stepped inside. The house was terribly dirty. I went to the back of the room, and there, in a chair, in the middle of the cats, sat a terrible old woman with sparkling eyes. I said Bill and Irene were my parents, and the old woman grinned. It turns out that they already had a boy, Johnny, who also visited her sometimes. He said that his new parents braced his developed lungs. And then he disappeared. Seems like he was sent to a special school in Boston. Disappeared? So the note wasn't lying. I have to save all the children. When I got back, I noticed a guy my own age standing outside the house. His name was Rich, and he arrived this morning while I was away. He was adopted too. His parents died in a car accident, and he had long dreamed of finding a family again. I was ashamed to say that my real parents just left me and went somewhere in Vegas. But Rich seemed like a nice guy, so I told him. Then I realized I had to warn him. Terrible things are happening in this house, Richie. But he just laughed and thought I was joking. Then I called him into the room as I wanted to show him the note, but it had disappeared somewhere. I was desperate. But Rich said he believed me and was willing to help. But if we were in danger, he must make sure of it. First, we found in the internet that special school where Johnny allegedly went to study. But there was no one named Morris. So I suggested we search the house and we snuck into Bill's office. There were a lot of surgical instruments, some receipts, and cash calculations. And on the table, there was a notebook with the children's weights and heights. Do you believe me now? But Rich said it still didn't mean anything. We started arguing when we heard someone coming up the stairs and ran into another room. Rich said he'd had enough, and he didn't like the idea right away. We'd better stop doing this. I knew Rich wouldn't help me, but all my fears were confirmed. I had to run away from here today. Before dinner, Irene sternly called me into the living room. I was sure they already know that Richie and I had been going through their office. I went down the stairs without feeling my legs and found Richie standing helplessly in the middle of the living room. A nasty old man was patting him on the cheek. My parents introduced me and said that an elderly couple had come to visit us. They are their old acquaintances, and I must make friends with them. All evening, they asked us about our hobbies, patted us on the head and admired us, saying look how healthy they are. I was very scared. Why are they so interested in our health? After dinner, I saw how the old people give to our foster parents a package. It was clearly money. They sold us for organs. I waited until everyone was asleep and went to Richie. We have to run right now, without waiting for the night. I burst into his room, but he wasn't there. Suddenly, someone put a hand on my shoulder. My stomach went cold with horror. Oh no, it was Irene. I started yelling, asking where is Richie? But she calmly replied that he had a nightmare and asked to sleep in their bed. In horror, I remembered the note again. The children disappear from the parents' bed. Irene strangely smiled and added that I could see it myself. I didn't want to go into the bedroom, but I had to make sure Richie was okay. I cautiously went into their room. Rich was indeed in the bed, peacefully sleeping. Maybe I'm really getting myself in mood. I felt relieved, so I crawled under the covers to him and immediately fell asleep. When I woke up the next morning, Richie wasn't there. I looked around and realized it wasn't my parents' bedroom. Suddenly I heard footsteps, and a long shadow appeared in the doorway. I immediately pretended to be asleep. I felt someone bending over me and opened my eyes a little. It was the same old lady who visited us the day before. I screamed, "What do you need and where is Richie?" The old lady hesitantly said that Richie was gone. She wanted to reach out to me, but I immediately rushed out of the room. I ran into the kitchen and saw the old man there. He was holding a bloody knife, and something that looked like a human liver was lying on the table. I backed away and wanted to throw something at him, but something wet came under my hand. Oh no, it's Richie's t-shirt. It's covered in blood. I darted in the opposite direction and ran to the second floor. The old couple was coming up behind me. "Judy, come to us. Don't be afraid." Then I rushed to the bathroom and climbed out through the window on the ledge down. I'm almost free, but it was too late, and a car with Irene and Bill came around the corner. I ran through the garden, but they grabbed me and dragged me into the house. "No, you won't get my organs!" I was screaming, trying to get away. Then I heard Richie's voice. He was standing in the middle of the living room, all safe and sound. Richie began to reassure me, saying that he was now the adopted son of my grandparents. Irene and Bill helped him find a family, but I still didn't believe it. What about the knife, the t-shirt, the bundle of money? The old couple smiled and said that Irene and Bill were helping those who were not officially allowed to adopt children. They take the children home and then transfer them to such families. The bundle was a thank you pie, and the knife was bloody because the old man was cutting up the steak for dinner. The t-shirt was stained by Richie himself in the morning when he opened the pomegranate syrup. At first, the old couple wanted to take only Richie, but seeing how we became friends, they decided to adopt me as well. But what about the missing Johnny? And all those surgical instruments? Bill good-naturedly laughed. It turned out that the boy wasn't lost. He now has a new family. They live nearby, and he was given to swimming. But their neighbor, Miss Larkins, has a very bad temper. That's why they didn't tell her anything. As for the instruments, Bill is a surgeon and all the instruments are from the hospital. Irene hugged me and apologized for sneaking us to the old couple's house last night. They just didn't want to wake us up. We slept so sweetly. I sipped my tea in silence for a while, trying to make sense of what happened, and then I burst into tears and asked everyone for forgiveness. Irene and Bill didn't look so bad now. They hugged me, and the old couple gave me a handkerchief. Apparently, I was so offended by my parents who abandoned me that I completely stopped believing that someone could take care of me. But now I understand there are still people who don't wish you harm. And you just have to learn to accept their help.